Wait, are you using the elf costume as like a sound blocker?
Yeah, I thought it would work really well.
Oh, well, yeah, I wasn't I wasn't ripping on it. I was marveling at your ingenuity.
Well, I needed something more than the blanket I had. And then I was like, wait, that's like really textural. That'll be perfect.
The fur can really capture the
Yeah,
sound
yeah.
in its tendrils.
I don't know that much about sound, but I know an elf costume, A+ dampening. Good evening, May.
Good evening, Moxey. How are you doing?
Good. It's a brand new
Wonderful.
week because
It is.
technically the week starts today, which probably,
Wow.
I mean, it's Thursday, so we'll say the week starts today because this is the day we put out our podcast.
Mm-hmm. The day you've all been waiting for. Thursday.
Thank you, everyone, for listening and joining our lovely movement. If you haven't listened to us before, we are a podcast about the spiritual connection and the spiritual movement that May and I decided to start together because we realized that the love we put out there, we get back exponentially, and it sort of makes you feel this euphoric state. And we want to share that with everyone else, and everyone else in the world feels so much love and so much greatness and be together in that.
Since we've started doing this, I really can feel that it's coming back. Like it's like an echo, and I do feel markedly better since we started getting our message out to people. Because I think while we weren't really holding it in on purpose, we just didn't really know what we had. But then once we realized it, we definitely wanted to share with people.
Yeah, we've been kind of percolating on this for quite a while, and now it's great to share it with everyone else. And this is actually our 11th episode. We didn't really celebrate.
Really?
Yeah, we didn't really celebrate
I lost
10.
count. Wow.
You can tell who does all the editing and the posting.
Yeah, it's true.
At the conference, it was a work conference. There was a few things based on what you're just saying that really made me think about us and our movement. I was like, I'm going to bring those up.
Yeah.
One of the things is I saw this really cool speaker named Mel Robbins, and I mean, at conferences normally you have like a bunch of motivational speakers, and then it's like motivational speaker, and then you go into like breakout rooms and have more sessions about like specific things you're interested in, and then the motivational speakers are like everybody at the conference. So there was like 2,500 people at this conference.
Oh, wow.
So they brought this lady, Mel Robbins, in from the States, and she has this whole movement about 5 seconds. So when you don't want to do something, you just count down from 5. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you have to do it. And obviously,
I've heard of this.
Yeah, there's this like deep explanation of like how she kind of figured it out for herself and all of that. But it made me really happy because, one, it kind of paralleled how you and I have kind of self-discovered this self-help we have given to ourselves. But then also, her movement itself is super interesting. And there is a bit of science to it that, you're counting down, not up, because you run out of numbers and then you have to do the thing. And also, it's essentially interrupting habit loops in your head, interrupting that autopilot that essentially your brain does. And then you take over being conscious of these things. Like you're lying in bed in the morning, you're like, oh, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this. And you're like, I have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I just have to get up before you essentially have time to think about it, right? But I thought that applies to everything, which she eventually, as she's explaining it, said, but also that applies to bad thoughts or negative thoughts or things that kind of we get stuck in thinking instead of giving out love and positivity into the world. So that is something that people can try if they're in that bad place that we often say, there's no fault if you're not ready to do all of this now. But this is kind of a tool that people can use to help them get out of that bit of a rut or negativity that they currently have. And it doesn't just work for your patterns of thinking, but also doing physical things. Like if you're trying to get up early every morning and you never do it, it's like, okay, the alarm goes off, you turn off the alarm, you don't pause, you just go, okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and get out of bed.
Or if you lay in bed watching pimple pop and cyst removal videos, and you're like, I gotta go to sleep, but just one more.
So I just thought it was... I do that too. I just,
good.
So it would be something that people could try when they're having those rough times and you just kind of can't get out of that cycle that you're having a rough day, everyone's giving you a rough time. It might be a way to kind of break that negative cycle and say, okay, how can I turn this around? How can I be positive? Just act and do something positive immediately instead of thinking about what you can do. Okay, this person's yelling at me, just smile and say, I'm sorry you're upset, or leave the situation and go do something positive. So that was really interesting because a lot of these motivational speakers, sometimes I feel it's kind of hokey and like you're all jazzed up when they talk, but then you go home and you don't change anything. And this one I was like, okay, I can see how this actually can apply to everyone in different circumstances of their life.
Well, I think, just because it's such a simple thing, but it's so effective, because it's just taking you, it's mindfulness, really, because it's taking you out of this, like, bad loop that you're stuck in, and just saying, okay, stop, I'm done that toxic thought, I'm going to switch gears.
Yeah.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's, people can just do it. Like, you don't have to have any kind of a tool, you don't have to, it doesn't cost you anything, you just do it.
And
it's good. I'm going to try that this week.
It really works because our brains want patterns, right? And we all get stuck in these ruts. And that's really what a lot of these ruts are, right? It's just, it is true. This is kind of weird, but it's the same thing as why we have stereotypes, right? Our brain has built itself on patterns. So when we see one thing, if we see something else similar, we apply the results of the first thing to it. That's just how the brain grows and has survival mechanisms. If you see a snake once and the snake bites you, then next time you see a snake, you're going to say, oh, I'm not going to go near the snake. Well, it's the same thing with negative thoughts. If you have, something going on and it's negative, the next time you have a negative thought, then you're already priming yourself for something more negative happen and more and more and more. And if you just try to break that cycle and go, no, I'm going to try to think about something positive or do something positive or even just do something neutral instead of thinking or feeling this, it can make a huge difference in your day too.
That makes a lot of sense. I've been having kind of similar discussions this past week with friends of mine here just about how, and it goes along with what you're saying with people searching out patterns. We were just kind of talking about how people will look to be part of a group.
Yes. And
belong with people because, we were always social animals and had our little tribes and, our family units. And I think now where we're living in situations where we're in these bigger cities and a lot of us are kind of alone in a huge public space, we're looking to connect with people. And a lot of that, I think, is happening online. And you become very stuck in this idea of like defending your position within a group to the point where sometimes you don't see the forest for the trees and you might start becoming almost kind of like, I don't know, you stop thinking about what it is you're actually a part of because you just want to stay connected with people. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. Like your comforts, living outside of your comfort zone or thinking outside your comfort zone or doing anything outside your comfort zone, it's always going to be a negative feeling. So the smaller you make the comfort zone, the bigger the negative world is or the negative feelings take over compared to your comfort zone. So it is true that you kind of have to, your brain's a muscle too. You have to push yourself to expand that comfort zone by being uncomfortable and doing things that you don't think you can do, by being more positive, by spreading more love, even if it's in circumstances you normally haven't before. So that comfort zone and that zone of where you're willing to reach out and send out positivity is bigger because it's outside your comfort zone isn't comfortable. That's the whole point. So you have to make more of the world your comfort zone. And like you say, people online or in their communities, you tend to hunker down because we think, oh, I only want to be around what makes me feel good or comfortable or happy. When in reality, you have to push yourself out into those negative peripheries to make your comfort zone bigger too.
Yeah, I think so too.
We have to remember too that as she pushes up her glasses, like positive and negative stress, like anxiety and like stress over being happy or excited for something, that's the same reaction that your physical body makes. So sometimes in those times where you can't escape external forces being negative or worrying about other people, you can also try to trick yourself into it being a positive, exciting thing, which just seems absolutely insane. But it's just like...
No, honestly, I don't think it sounds insane.
It's breaking that habit again and choosing the love path or the positive path in your thinking or thoughts or doing. Like if you're feeling absolutely, destroyed because you're in this negative situation with people because they say, oh, well, this is this and I'm going to write this off and da-da-da-da-da. It's like, and the anxiety's rising, and maybe that's only people like you and I, May, because we're naturally anxious anyway. But you have to be like, okay, I'm stressed, but my body is only excited. I'm just gonna change that to excited and change the subject or spin it that like, well, isn't it nice we're together here, or whatever semi BS that you can say to kind of change the subject or the way you're thinking about it or whatever too.
I feel like I'm blessed to have a very positive workspace. And I get along with the people I work with very well.
Me too. Mine is insanely positive. And it doesn't mean like, oh, no one ever has a bad day or a bad moment.
No.
It's just overall, people are so positive and happy and supportive. If you're having a rough day, there's been a couple times where I've had a really bad day and it's so bad that you don't want to interrupt that like negative. You just want to be like deeper and deeper in your negativity.
Yeah.
And someone comes in and almost like forcefully pulls me out of it. And you're like, oh, I don't want you to fix this for me. I just want to feel bad. And I don't say that, but then they're just like, nope, we're going to think about this, this, and this. And it's great. And la, la, la. It's like, oh, dang it.
I definitely have my moments where I just want to sulk.
I know.
A crystal here that I own one myself, and I've done a little bit of research on it. Today, I would like to speak briefly about labradorite.
Oh, I am familiar with this!
Mm-hmm. It has labrador essence.
Oh, the essence of a land.
Yes? The stone, the physical appearance of it, you can find some that are, it's like, mother of pearl, like that oil slick kind of.
Yes, yeah. It's like rainbow.
The gray, but rainbowy.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like. And it normally, you can find some labradorite stones that are entirely that. But I have one that's almost completely just looks like a polished rock that you would find on the side of the road.
Oh.
But then it has a patch and a streak in it of like the beautiful blue color that when you kind of turn it around, it's like a little surprise there for you.
Like iridescent.
And
Yeah,
and it looks really pretty. It actually does come from northern Canada, and I would have to assume Alaska too. I don't know, but
oh, it's not just Labrador.
No, not just Labrador, but it was a sacred stone to like the northern indigenous peoples who lived up in the north, and they believed that the stone was created by the aurora borealis, the northern lights.
That's really cool.
So, and that's what the coloring is. They thought like, okay, this stone kind of came to, or it touched them and created that. And I thought that was really cool. So this stone, it was held sacred to those people and still today is thought to be a stone that helps with, get this, existential crisis.
What?
Yeah. which is, I think, perfect for this time of year because there's no vitamin D in the. That's what the sun is, right? Vitamin D.
Well, yes, it activates it in your. Anyway, yes. Just for simplicity, yes, that's what we're lacking due to the lack of light.
We're lacking the light.
Yeah.
We're lacking the sun. We're feeling that we're in this tunnel, and are we ever going to get out of it? Are we ever going to get over this hump? And these indigenous peoples, they believed that this stone, holding it and being with it and meditating on it, could connect you to the spirit realm, so that you could get in touch with your not just your inner peace and your inner self, but also your ancestors and all of those who've come before you, so you could tap into the wisdom of others and bring it into your own life and not be so concerned about maybe what's going on around you, because ultimately the only thing you're going to be able to affect or to change is yourself and your own situation. And this stone was used just to kind of meditate on, here I am, where do I want to be, where would I like to go? And I think really, now that we're talking about the 5 seconds, that ties into that, I think, as well, because even if you don't necessarily believe that there is a spirit realm, taking that 5 seconds to be mindful and time out and just reconnect, reset, I think that's kind of would be tapping into the same emotion, really.
Interesting.
So that's just my little spin on that. But it's supposed to be good for linking you to the spirit world, and it's also supposed to help if you're trying to do astral projections.
Nope, I'm out.
I don't really myself personally believe in astral projecting, but I do believe that time I dreamt about remember I had the dream about the people from the future? I now think that really is real. So
What?
Remember I was telling you?
May.
Do you remember the dream?
No.
The people came to me and were like telling me about their cures for cancer and how Radiohead is a band in the future because they've downloaded themselves into like some kind of matrix thing. Do you not remember that? I should write it all out and send it to you.
The Radiohead part sounds familiar.
Yeah. It was like the night before, and I was telling you guys, as soon as I got in the car, I was like, I gotta tell you guys so I don't forget. But I think now that maybe they really visited me. And I think it happened 2 other times when I was younger. But they're in the 4th dimension, so it would have all happened at once for them.
Okay, hold on. Back. Oh. But what... What?
It was a good dream.
It sounds like a lovely dream. Why? So, what? I don't know. So you think this is someone downloaded into your brain from the future to say this?
No, I don't think that.
I often will have dreams. And then I also have elephant brain, for people who don't know, that I remember a lot, even in life. And then things will happen similarly a month, a year, 3 years later, and I'll be like, I feel like this has happened before. And sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that was a dream. Like this weekend.
Deja vu.
Yeah, people generally call it like deja vu. Like this weekend, I had brunch with someone like that, whenever that dream happened in my brain, I was like, oh, that's weird. Why was I there with that person or whatever, right? Well, I've just come to realize, and maybe this will explain it a bit to you, that...
Oh, I've already made up my mind. But please go ahead.
It's our brain, or like, dreams are like constant rehearsals, right? Our brains are like rehearsing for things to happen. So... every night we're having multiples of these circumstances we're rehearsing. Right. And it's just like every circumstance that can possibly be happening is happening in our dreams. But then we only remember certain ones. And then we have the negative or the positive, like reinforcement that like when something happens in real life and it's similar to the dream, that it must be foretelling the dream. But I think it's just dreams, May. But
well, we're looking for the patterns too.
Why?
Just what we were talking about before.
And not to like poo-poo your belief system.
Also, this is while I was still like detoxing from years of alcohol. Which I'm sure has nothing to do with the brain chemistry at the time.
Nothing to do with your brain. or okay, this is where I will compromise on this with you.
Okay.
If it is real, they did that and told you that trolling you to like mess you up. That Radiohead isn't from the future, but they all got together and they're still from here. Radiohead is from this time, but they're just also in the future. Oh, I thought you were saying they sent back Thom Yorke from the future.
No.
Okay.
And it's not actually him. They've put themselves into like an AI.
Oh, naturally. Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
So it's not actually them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then sometime within our lifetime, they're going to put out an album that's them doing not a compilation, but like a collaboration with their AI selves. And it's going to be like revolutionary.
I'm going to say what happened.
So we'll see.
I'm going to say what happened is before bed, Radiohead and Gorillaz was playing. And they like meshed in your brain.
That could be.
Your newly sober brain.
That's very, very possible. Yeah, that would have been like, that was the first weekend that I didn't drink, so at the time. So that would have been like 6 days.
That was a big deal.
At the time, yes, it was. Sadly, it was.
Exactly. And maybe we'll end on that high note. So
I think that's a good place to end up.
Well, that was it from us this week, everybody. We hope you have a great week. And as always, if you want to get in touch with us or ask us any questions or share your love with us, feel free to join us on Instagram, Euphoralytic, EUPHORALYTIC. That's where we all kind of gather. Feel free to DM either May and I personally as well. We love talking to people. We love hearing about other people's story, and we're happy to share other people's stories on the podcast as well.
Yes.
But yeah, have a great week, everyone, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.